Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Rabbi's Ramblings. I hope you've had a wonderful week. Ever wonder what Judaism's opinion was regarding to waging war? Does one wage war or not? Well, in fact, if we look in this week's Parsha, the Torah portion, Parsha Beshalach, we see that in one instance the Jews did wage war, and in one instance they are told that no, they should sit and God will wage the war for them. The first instance is where we have Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, regrets setting the Jewish people free from Egypt, and he chases after them with his entire army. Comes to the banks of the Red Sea, and the Jewish people are trapped. They have the Egyptian army behind them and the sea in front of them. So there were those that wanted to go wage war against the Egyptians, but Moses steps up and says that no, sit and God will wage your war for you. You have nothing to worry about. Fast forward to the end of the Torah portion, we see that the nation of Amalek comes and attacks the Jewish people, but here we don't find that Moshe tells the Jewish people, sit and God will wage the war for you. We find the contrary, that immediately he tells the Jews to take up arms and go out and wage war. Question is, what's the difference? So in order to understand this, we're going to examine closely what the threat that Pharaoh represents and what threat the nation of Amalek represents. Pharaoh represents a physical threat. Pharaoh, we see, was subjected the Jewish people to physical labor. And he took the Jewish boys physically and threw them into the Nile, and so on and so forth. It was all about physical affliction. So when a Pharaoh is pursuing the Jewish people, it is talking about where there is mundane physical danger for the Jewish body, for the Jewish as a human being. There we say that God will protect you. And we find that throughout our history, there was always these great mighty nations that would come after us, and yet God would protect us. We always, in the end, we survived them all. We survived the greatest nations and empires that there have been out there. But then we see that when it comes to Amalek, and Amalek represents the spiritual warfare. Amalek represents where he's trying to block and prevent the Jewish people from coming to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah. Amalek is the one who says, what are you getting so excited about doing the mitzvah? You can do it, but you don't have to be so excited. You don't have to be really into it. He's sort of putting the shower, dousing the flames of intensity when it comes to Judaism, planting a tiny seed of doubt in one's mind. So when it comes to these spiritual obstacles, when it comes to a spiritual threat, whether it's the winds of assimilation, whatever it may be, here things can be a little more subtle. So the only way we're going to make sure that we're going to be able to protect ourselves is by taking up arms and going out and waging full warfare against any spiritual obstacles that we may have. And God willing, we will always be successful. Shabbat Shalom. Be well.